Hi, my name is Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by
Noah,
Dave, Mark.
and we just finished playing Ark Nova. If you can see that, we don't have the box or indeed the proper game because this is a print and play version. So we managed to get sort of coloured versions of our own board. You're essentially trying to fill animals into a zoo. So this is your zoo, and you build these enclosures and then you fill them with animals. The animals are sort of lots of cards here. This will all be in colour though, and obviously it'll be proper board game components. We've stolen components from other games. You might recognise other gaming components here, but this is the final game. Dave, it's going to be released at Essen, is that right?
Yes.
Essen 2021, and as I say, it's not going to change. The game that we played is actually the real game, so I'm going to give you a quick overview and then we'll tell you what we think of it. So and a really important thing in this is how you take actions, and everyone has exactly the same 5 action cards. So typically what you do, imagine this one is a bit higher up here, is the first thing you want to do is build an enclosure in your zoo, and the enclosures have different sizes. So for example, if you want to fit an Asian elephant in your zoo, you need an enclosure of size 5. But the power of the action you're selecting is above it. So you see it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 here. If I were to take the build action now, it would only be power 4. So I could take this action though, and when you take it, it slides out. All the cards underneath it slide up, so they become more powerful for your next turn. And this one goes in at the bottom. So if I try and build again, I'll only get a build 1. So I could then build one of these enclosure things of size 4. And you sort of take it from the supply and add it onto board. You can see this is a size 4 one here that I've built earlier in the game. And if you cover things up, you get the stuff. So in this case, that gives me some money. This is the money icon. This lets me get a card from the display in the middle here. There's various different ways you're going to get cards. So yes, typically you might be building an enclosure. Then maybe you want to get the cards. So you can see this card action now is power 4, so I will slide it out, these all move up, and then on my next turn, as I say, I can take a power 4 action. So this one, because it's power 4, would let me draw 3 cards, and I'd have to discard a card. So you're kind of drawing cards off the deck, and typically these are going to be the animals. So you can see here is a dugong, I think that's a sea creature, some native farm animals, and Horsfield's tarsier. So all kinds of interesting animals, and the deck is huge. Like, these are the cards we didn't get through in the game. There's absolutely tons and tons of cards that come in the game. It's a bit like Terraforming Mars in the sense that there's lots of combos you get by combining certain cards. If you get lots of reptiles, like this Nile crocodile for example, then potentially you're going to get extra synergies that work with those animals. So after you've acquired the cards, then you can actually put the animals into your zoo. So you kind of play the card animals. So these are all the animals that I managed to play during the game. You have to pay money typically. So again, for this Asian elephant, it costs me 33 coins. And then I basically play this face up. And it gives me a couple of things. So an important thing is tickets. And the other thing you can potentially get is conservation icons. At the start, we all have no tickets, and as you play more and more animals, you're increasing on this ticket track. You can see we've got to around here, and this determines your income. So if you've got, like red, 45 tickets, then in the income phase every round, you're going to get 24 money. So you want to increase the tickets. The more animals you get in your zoo, the more tickets you get, because that's the primary way of getting income. But the other thing is these conservation icons. You have a marker, this was mine, but you actually start in the other direction on this track and it moves in the opposite direction. So your one marker is kind of going anti-clockwise, the other marker is going clockwise, and the game ends when somebody manages to get their conservation marker here to cross over their ticket marker, a bit like Rajas of the Ganges. At that point, there's some end game scoring, which might let you get some more sponsorship icons, but then the winner is the person whose 2 icons have crossed over the furthest. So in this case, the distance between here, I think there's 9 spaces in between, would be Blue's final score, and Blue did manage to win this game. Now, there's a bunch of other things you can do, and I'm not going to go over everything because it's quite complicated, but those are the main things. You're essentially acquiring animals to get tickets to try and get these 2 things to cross over. So other things you can do is you have an association action, which is this board here. This lets you acquire, like this is the Africa region.
Association Zoo.
Okay, Association Zoo, and you place it into this section. Again, when you cover things up, you get stuff, so this gets you an extra person, which you need the people to play on here to get the association things. But also it makes it cheaper to buy those animals. So if you're getting an African elephant, for example, it'll be cheaper if you have the Africa symbol. You can see it reduces it by a cost of 3 for each symbol on there. Other things you can do is you can upgrade how many science symbols or your hand limit, because cards is a really important thing here. So you can get place things on here, which again, when you cover up the stuff, this is upgrading one of your action cards. All of your action cards here, you can flip over and make them better. So I have upgraded my animal thing. Depending on the power here, I could play one animal at power 3, but on the upgraded side, I can play 2 animals at level 3. So you kind of want to upgrade your cards, and one of the ways you do it is by covering up this upgrade your card symbol. But it also gets me science symbols which are necessary to play certain animals, and this university mortarboard hat thing is another track. You're going up on a track here which unlocks certain special abilities as you get high on the track, but also it means that when you're taking cards you can potentially take them from the level that your tokens got up to. So these kind of come out from the deck. So you can always take cards off the top of the deck when you're getting cards, and as I say, the higher your thing gets, the more you have a choice of things you actually know about. Because as I say, synergies are very important. The big thing in this game then finally is you can take this action, the association, to try and get scoring on this conservation icon thing. So if you have lots of primates in your park, then you can stick an icon down here and get quite a lot of conservation. 4 is a lot here. Or maybe it's predators or Africa animals or reptiles. But those start out at the beginning of the game like that. Other ones people can play out for extra things you can go for as well. But that's an important thing that you're going to be trying to do. There was one other action, which is play a sponsorship card. There's another kind of card in your deck, which is slightly different. It's not an animal, but I managed to build an adventure playground. And that gives you tickets and other helpful things. All right, what do we think?
I enjoyed it a lot. I really like the action card mechanic, having to decide which actions you want to use, not only depending on how far up they are, so how good they'll be, but how good it'll make the other ones. And there are also other cards which can help you manipulate that, like put a card at the top, right at the bottom if you don't think it's going to be that good and you want it. Maybe the next card, the other cards to be a bit better because you're not going to use that at the moment, which I really enjoyed. I found the learning it was quite difficult because it's a heavy area. There's a lot of different mechanics, and the cards, there's a lot to them. There's lots of different symbols, and understanding what all the symbols mean can be a lot to take in, but I really enjoyed it.
Okay, Dave?
Yeah, I think there's some nice asymmetry, so you can, depending on your board, you might go for a different strategy. But yeah, Noah really nailed it. He the card actions, deciding what you're going to do, are really nice decisions, and I like this was compared to Terraforming Mars because you got all the cards. There's like a million different types of animals. That's great. I think that where it's different is the flow of the game is much nicer because on your turn you just do one of those things and you don't have to slow down and do the draft and mess about or and just gaining cards and stuff is just like a lot smoother, and you don't even have to gain cards. You can actually play animals from within your reputation range, so it kind of gives you some flexibility in your strategy. Yeah, it's really great.
Mark?
Yeah, it's definitely a very solid heavy Euro. It's a bit of a beast to teach. There's a lot going on. It does very much have the feeling of ideas coming from other games. I mean, Terraforming Mars, as Dave said, is the clear obvious one with reasonably large tableaus filling in a board, but there's also going things with the action card mechanism and the Rajas Agandis things crossed into. It does kind of feel like it's stolen little bits from here and there and kind of added them to Terraforming Mars. The tableau size is much more comfortable in this than Terraforming Mars, which can get ridiculous, which some people love, but in that you kind of do super amounts of comboing. This is a little bit more constricted for the good because I think it keeps the game a little bit, the pace going up, even though it is going to be it's going to be AP prone. There's enough of a wide enough decision space that times you're like what to do, especially with the cards, trying to get the cards the right kind of come up to the right quality at the right time to link with other things you're trying to do. So give me the order, but there's also cards you want on there. So yeah, it's it's all very, very good. It's been incredibly well put together. I'm more than happy to play it again. I guess both the good and for bad, the scoring cost can be a little bit restrictive. That's bad because I suppose ultimately you can be initially a little bit held to what's in your hand. Plus you may just want to combo in a different way. But it's good because it does give you focus. So if you're not sure what to do, look what's on the board and then look to try and get stuff from that. But yeah, I really like it, and it's a really nice theme as well. It's something a little bit fresh about conservation, which is nice. It's different.
Rating?
I think I'd give it an 8.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, I'm on an 8.5 at the moment. I think this is a game that if you played it with a group regularly, I think like multiple plays are going to give you a lot of benefit, partially because you don't have to teach it. But yeah, great game.
Okay. Noah?
I'd give it an 8.
Okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. If you like Terraforming Mars, this is definitely up your street. I prefer this to Terraforming Mars, though. It feels a similar kind of weight and complexity to something like Terra Mystica in terms of how a lot of the different tracks interconnect. You can get bonus actions from going up on various different tracks that then help you get more guys, that get you more association actions that let you put more things on your board, that unlock other things. There's lots of different combos here, and that's super satisfying. It took quite a long time to teach, but it all made sense. I think, as Mark was saying, the zoo conservation theme just connects everything. So when you're building certain sizes of enclosures, you're right, okay, it's a bigger animal, it needs more space. A lot of it just makes sense. So although it took a while to teach, I didn't feel like it was difficult to wrap my head around. By the end of the teach, I was like, yeah, this all makes sense. That's great. As I said, the action card selection thing is really, really nice. You've really got to time it. It's like, okay, I really want to be able to build an enclosure of size 4, but then I want to do the association action of power 4 as well. Will that be in the right place? Planning ahead's quite important. So it's very satisfying. I've really enjoyed this one. I would be on an 8.5 out of 10. All right, thanks for watching. No box lid, but that was Ark Nova.